Okay, so we can get started, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, this doing nothing, that exercise is actually a different experience. In the sense, even first sitting, after sitting also, it's taking some time actually. I don't know, like initially, like you said, don't, divert your thoughts, let the thoughts come. So actually doing nothing is also a little bit taxing. So what I'm trying to do is also sit in front of a wall, just whatever comes to the, ears or the five senses, just go through it and then not react to anything. Like that, I've started practicing. Again, practicing is a wrong word, I think, but I'm just saying that I'm getting used to that particular thing. Initially, after about 5 to 6 minutes, I actually gave up on the first try, but then slowly in the last 1 week, I was able to increase it to 15 minutes. That is the status as of this week.
Cool. So again, the idea is doing nothing. Nothing in the
Doing
sense,
that.
even we should not try to control thoughts or watch thoughts or anything.
Correct. And
Uh,
not fall asleep also.
no, not fall asleep. Yeah. See, for that the technique is don't be too relaxed in your
Yeah,
position. In the
correct.
sense, try to keep back straight
Yeah,
and not lean on any cushion or anything, so that automatically you won't fall asleep
yeah.
if you are in a.
So that's what I did not lean to the wall. I'm sitting on the floor, but facing the wall, and then just taking a point on the wall, and then just reacting to what is going around me. That's it.
There's a meditation or a group called Zen
Uh-huh.
practice. Okay,
Okay, okay.
there is something called Zazen.
Hmm.
In Zazen, that's exactly what they do. They put all the cushions facing the wall,
Mm.
and everyone sits facing the wall. They don't even close the eyes.
That's it.
They just sit straight. All that is still. That's all.
Sit still. Okay, okay,
Once you sit, that's all. Do nothing.
okay.
That's the.
Okay, while you folks were talking, I see a couple of more people have joined the call. Prabhu, Samba, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning,
Hi.
guys.
Good morning, all.
Hi Samba, we didn't hear from you for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can get started. Whoever wants to talk about that eightfold path, we can hear.
Curious question. I also hear from people, but personally, I haven't experienced it. I hear some people that when you meditate, there are certain uh, areas where there seems to be a lot of where it drives the energy, not drains the energy, but it drives the energy. And there's some areas which, some positions or areas which drains the energy. So, is there anything that have experienced? People generally say, ಈ ತರ ವಾಸ್ತು ತರ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the vibrations will probably help you out. ಆ ತರ. Or something which should to be taken care of.
No, at least I don't follow any of those.
Yeah. Even for me, I have not really experienced draining of energy due to the facing of my position. But what I've noticed is um, the time of the day or what I would have done before sitting to the meditation until then kind of has an impact on the way the meditation practice goes for me. For example, I've tried in the morning, I've tried in the afternoon, I've tried in the evening. There is this sitting position based meditation, and I've also tried in the evening and even in the night, including the early morning. So what I noticed is when it is, let's say, after lunch, even if it is after half an hour, 1 hour, if I have not taken a nap, and if I try to sit for this meditation practice, body becomes drowsy quite quickly, and I simply can't what is that? Be aware of the thoughts flowing. I lose the track quite easily, and I also fall kind of doze off a little bit and then come back. That I have noticed. And on the contrary, sometimes, let's say there has been a hectic day, either due to personal work or professional work, and then when I try to sit in the evening, I try to do meditation. The mind simply continues to have severe jumps from one thought to another thought to another thought to another thought. It is like you can notice that there is a bit of agitation, bit of flow of thoughts, way more than what I would have noticed when I sit for meditation, something in the morning, when the day is yet to begin and the body is properly rested, mind is also kind of in the calm state. And when you do meditation, then I have felt generally the flow of thoughts you can be quite aware of, and also they tend to be much slower, and you can observe them quite more comfortably. Again, at least we will come to that final state in terms of what Ravi says, do nothing. But then at least my experience has been all of us are like these kids, right? Learning to let go of things that we have been running behind so incessantly. So it takes a while. That is where I think even the Noble Eightfold Path gives us some step-by-step technique to do it. But before I say anything there, let's hear from others also. What has been your practice? And Pati also has joined. Pati, good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning, Manju. Good morning, all.
So we started sharing our experience around the meditation first, and then talk about the Noble Eightfold Path as a progressive step as well, Pati. So
yeah, so please get started. Yeah. So I just maybe many times I also feel no, I'm not a very regular meditation person, but I mean during my prior times and all that, so I also experience such things. Yeah, whatever you indicated, but of course I am more keen to hear from all.
So Rajiv, any additional comments, thoughts, or anyone else have any additional points to share? After that, we can go also talk about this Noble Eightfold Path items.
Yeah, Manju, I have tried. I have practiced morning and evening. I did not find much difference, but as you said, afternoon I tried, which was not so effective as you mentioned. It's mm, jumping from one thought to other thought, not coming back. That happens mostly in the afternoon. But morning and evening are more effective compared to the afternoon ones. And what I heard from the practitioners is that you have to fix time and place for meditation, because that could be because of atomic habits also, that that you continue to have that habit, and that place will make you to continue the habit. As soon as you see the place, you remember that you meditate. The other thing is that that place enhances your energy, as Raji was saying, because you have meditated in that place for quite long time. So that I have experienced also, like, where my father meditate for a long time, I mean, since long years. So that if I sit there, the experience will be different, enhanced experience, I can say.
That is good, definitely as a starting point. But if we stop there, then I think we probably are missing the point of practicing this meditation in the first place. That is, as Ravi has told us multiple times also, right? In fact, Buddha also has told multiple times. When you are the beginner, when we are the beginners, we need to break the habit developed over so many lifetimes. So you start by sitting in certain place, creating the same environment, so that you get into that habit of not running incessantly. And slowly we should understand that every moment, whether we are sitting, standing, sleeping, whatever. So every moment, that flow of running behind craving and aversion, we need to stop. So that
Right.
is when I think truly that existence, being starts happening. And I think, yeah, at least as we keep practicing, I see that kind of flows even when we are not formally sitting. At least that I have noticed happening based on my own practice over the last few years now.
Okay.
Any other comments, thoughts, folks?
Yeah, I have been part of some of the guided trainings where once you go at least 15-20 minutes into the session, they start saying that we need to focus on energy, and wherever there are pain points or there are some ailments that then they ask you to divert all your energy to that particular organ or something, and then say if you do this for a 15 days continuously, slowly it is treated within the body without any medical intervention. So how you treat yourself in meditation through those energies, also some of the guided meditations, they have been part of them. Yeah.
Right. So maybe with these thoughts, actually, if I can share a couple more things, since we wanted to talk about the Noble Eightfold Path, also to understand them a bit more closely. But before we go there, Ravi, you wanted to talk about anything first, based on whatever we heard so far, whatever we discussed so far.
Hello, can you hear
Any
me?
thoughts? Yes, now we can.
Oh, okay, okay. See, again, I hear words like morning is effective, evening is not effective, or afternoon is not effective. See, how do we define effectiveness? What I'm again seeing is we all, including me, is we are looking for something. Okay, effective means less thoughts. Not effective is more thought. See, the idea is not to stop thoughts or say get rid of pain or being healthy. See, there are many meditations which are like that. Okay, which is good. It has its own purpose, but the purpose of this is different. That's why they say it's a direct path to realization. It is not to make body healthy or happy or mind with less thoughts. It's not the purpose of that. It's the purpose is to understand the nature of things, of body, mind, and basically the reality, the nature of reality, or finding the truth is the ultimate goal for this. So there is nothing called ineffective meditation or effective meditation. This is what it is at that point in time, uh, and we should stick to our purpose here. Otherwise, we get misguided by these things. We think sometime it's better, so let me do it, which means to say we are looking for that, and sometimes it's not good, so we again start hating that. We need to get rid of this trap. So the purpose here is different. That's all I wanted to say. Before we go into, maybe we can go into eightfold path now.
Ravi, you mean to say we should observe whatever it is coming, is it? Or we should be simply, keep quiet, whether it is observation or the more thoughts are coming or whatever it is, you simply try to be keep quiet.
See, when thought comes and you know the thought, you're already observing it.
Yeah.
How do you explicitly observe? See, when sound is heard,
Yeah.
the very reality that you know sound is heard means you have observed, right? Without you experiencing it, how do you know sound is heard? So, what is that explicit observation we need to do? There's nothing. Okay. So, even the observation is happening based on the very nature of this entire thing. If there is sound, if there is ear, sound is heard. Whether it's not a question of whether you like it or not, whether you intend to do it or not, it's already there. Similarly, if Prabhu says afternoon thoughts are coming, which means to say he has observed it. Even if he decides not to observe, suppose I decide today not to observe, okay, thought comes, I know, oh, so many thoughts are coming, which means I'm already observing it, right? there is nothing like we do. That's the whole idea here. Even if we decide not to do anything, everything what otherwise happens keeps happening. Ideas come. We say, no, I got an idea. I know it. I got some idea. It comes. It keeps coming. Ideas comes and experiences are felt, whether it's a sound or light or whatever it is. So what we, through this phenomena, what we'll understand is all this is a flow which is happening continuously. Whether you observe, you don't observe, whether you like, you don't like, whether you do, you don't do, it keeps happening. But we keep on imposing that I did it, I heard it, I whatever did. So for some time, let's keep I aside. What I mean by keep aside is doing nothing. I decided not to do anything. I decided not to hear. I decided not to see. I decided not to think. At the same time, I decided not to even stop all those things. So if you keep on doing it, sometime some realization happens. That depends on each individual, and that will be the truth of that moment and that time. And we keep on moving in this direction.
And if I may add, whenever you're sitting, sit without expectations. Just go with the flow. And that is how I think I
Because
interpret.
exactly, there is nothing to expect. But what we are, see, the fundamental thing is we still have a strong sense of I. And the sense of I is saying that I want to be happy. Okay.
Yeah.
So even the meditation we do with that intention. And that intention decides whether this meditation went well or not. If I'm restless, I feel, oh, this meditation did not go well. If I'm peaceful, I feel, because that's what I'm looking for continuously. What happens in this looking is the very looking will hinder the progress. Looking for something. Looking for happiness will hinder the happiness, because when I look for happiness, I projected I in future, and I exist now, I exist in future, and there's a different state I am expecting in future. And there's a I, that I continues to exist, right? So this is the trap which we are all into by its own nature. And even in meditation, we continue to do it. So we will strengthen it. Whatever we want to get rid of, we are actually strengthening it. Even if you say, oh, observe breath, which means say, again, I say, if I can't observe breath, I feel meditation did not happen. So that's the background in which we need to work towards it.
Probably
Ravi,
this is
Yeah.
that's the point. When, at least my experience in this meditation is that when in this state, right? I mean, when we try to contemplate, basically, we try to contemplate things. There are very short moments in which there is a feeling of an energy. There is a feeling of something inside, which you experience it, right? But that stays for a very short moment, and then there is a craving for that as well, which we cannot stop as well. Correct? So now I don't know, because whenever I do that meditation, and because I've experienced that short moments of some sort of a thing coming inside my body, and it almost, I cannot call it happiness, because I have experienced different happiness, and that happiness is different from what I experience now. But it doesn't stay all the time.
Correct.
But it's a good feeling. It's what I can say. I can give it a name. It's a good feeling.
Yes, correct. Correct.
But
yeah. See, this is exactly the trap of our life. Okay. We ate somewhere sometime. That moment we got aha feeling. We keep on trying to get that back. Okay. And then we went to a place. We saw a sunset, and suddenly we felt some kind of peace or silence. And because of that, we keep on traveling. Okay, thinking that I get that back. But unfortunately, we don't get it back. We may get it back in some other form, some other time. But by repeating the process, we don't get it. Okay. And if you have seen, for example, travel mostly is stressful. Okay. I don't know when it was pleasure. Even from planning to execution to coming back, we want to take rest. But someday, some long back when we traveled for the first time, we got that joy and we keep on doing it. Same way, even in meditation, yeah, see, initially actually meditation will be good because when you start it first time, you suddenly feel good. For example, if you do anything, for example, suppose you do Sudarshan Kriya, first few times it's very good because body is experiencing for the first time. After that, suddenly it becomes routine because we are looking for repetition of that peace or that silence, which
That
we
is
may
what I'm
not
asking.
get. Yeah. Hmm.
Is that we are looking for, or see again, the first experience of that is something which probably could be unknown as well. The feeling itself
Correct.
could be unknown, but it happens.
Correct.
Right? So it may not be always that we sit for meditation expecting that feeling to happen, but what I'm trying to say is that invariably happens.
Correct.
Right? So which means to say, what I'm trying to say is, now again, there is no option whether we choose to be with that feeling or not to be with that feeling.
Correct. Correct. There is no, means we see, by the very nature of mind, we look for it again. Okay. And again, we fall in trap. Okay. That's what craving is all about. Craving comes in the mind. You don't crave. It's a very nature of mind. And craving comes, we crave for that whatever experience we had. And consequence of that is disappointment.
But
This
can you
is
go
this
back to trying to say, can we, because when you say do nothing, can we go behind that feeling? Or is there something, because when you now with that feeling, what is that? It stay with that feeling. And that feeling stays for a couple of seconds, then okay, and jumps to another thought. So
nothing. See,
there cannot be nothing is what I'm trying to say.
We cannot
Ravi,
hold on to it.
So Ravi, see, I understand this state that you're describing, but actually, if I reflect on what Buddha has shared, right, based on his experience, that state where you just understand and you experience as it happens, to reach that state is like the point Z. And many of us are in, let's say, point A, point B, point maybe V or W. We don't know. We are somewhere either very close to it or somewhere very far away from it. I think none of us really know. That is where I think even Buddha mentioned that people need to practice by sitting in one place. People, in fact, he even gave some objects depending on the condition of the person to use as a meditation object at the superficial level, the start of the practice. And as they keep going into this state of realization, what you're saying. But it takes for any of us to some effort and time to reach that state, right? So it's, and the beauty is none of us know whether this will happen next moment or it's going to take a lot of time depending on how strongly we're attached to our ego or I-ness.
Correct. See, see, Buddha also gave a lot of other meditations. Okay, emptiness meditation and all many other even not that he did it and tried, but he gave it to people. Okay, even Analayo, there's a book called I don't know, I forgot it, Emptiness Meditation or something. Okay, where, for example, imagining the infinite is one of the meditation he gave, which is there in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra also. Okay, so everything has a different purpose. If we want peace, we want happiness, we want good health, we want good sleep, there are many. The whole thing, what finally concluded by whatever I have read, or concluded in the scriptures, is there are many paths, but this is the direct path. Even if you take other paths, for example, becoming peaceful, there are good for example, transcendental meditation, 20 minutes mantra will take you to trance. Okay, that's the easiest one. The thing is, you will come back. That's not eternal. You get peace, but you will come back to the same state in no time. So again, you do, it's like a drug. Okay, you take it first time, you feel good, you keep on increasing the dose, then you reach a point where it doesn't affect you anymore. So even meditations are like that. You start it, when you start it, it's very good. You keep on practicing it, but it becomes routine, and no more. You don't get that what you got first time. So what finally, after trying all those things, what was told was all this life is suffering. That's finally it, right. If you keep on doing such meditations, it feels good, you will come back. It feels good and you try something else, you come back. So the suffering continues. Only where suffering ends is the realization of who I am. And then that's exactly what ends it. And this is non-doing is the direct path for that.
ಕೊಂಚ ಇಲ್ಲ confusion
Thanks.
start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. See, theoretically, at least theoretically confusion start ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, because the point is we start with saying that do nothing in meditation. Okay, but then we have some objective saying that we have to get rid of suffering, and there is something which would get rid of suffering, which means the meditation that I'm doing would enable me to get rid of suffering. So either it could be that when I sit for meditation, I want to get rid of suffering, and therefore there is a purpose of meditation, and therefore there is a outcome I need out of meditation. When it doesn't happen, I feel bad, and when it starts happening, I feel good. But when you sit for suffering and do nothing at all, then it contradicts.
Yeah. See, I understand what you're saying. Now I can actually imagine when there is this story or this example of Ananda. Ananda was the personal assistant to Buddha for more than 25 years. And before that, he was a monk for at least another 20 years. Okay, so this person, see, he was so close to Buddha like a shadow. And in spite of him being so close to Buddha and practicing whatever techniques, including this direct path, the way Buddha explained to him and others, he simply could not reach the experiential state of what this non-doing or non-self until Buddha even passed away. More than 45-50 years, he, in spite of practicing, he still could not reach that state. What in Buddha's or in the Buddhism or Buddha used to call people as arahants. He could not reach that realized state because of whatever multiple reasons. Whereas there was one more of Buddha's Shishya called Sariputta, and this gentleman reached the state of realization, what Ravi just now said, right? In less than a week to 10 days after joining Buddha. I mean, that is after coming in association with Buddha. So now, this is where I was saying what I was saying earlier. That is, some of us, based on our maturity of how we are capable of understanding intellectually and then experiencing it as such, this reality becomes reality for us every single moment, either in the next moment, or it may take a much longer effort, a sincere effort that we need to continue to do, going through this paradox, whatever you just now described, Rajiv. And we need to continue to do it with the understanding that we are going through this paradox to the best of our ability, with the right wholesome intention of overcoming and getting out of this ignorance. But I think it's going to be a bit of a continuous journey or practice for many of us, which is what even you will see described in this Noble Eightfold Path items.
Agreed. Yeah.
So this is where I feel this wholesome state of being, existing, requires us to practice wholesome thoughts, wholesome actions, and wholesome way of having the clear understanding. And you would also notice that is why whatever you shared yesterday, Rajiv, the Bhagavad Gita verse, is pretty much in line with what the Noble Eightfold Path talks about. And in fact, if you dig a little further, explore this Yama and Niyama in Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. Yama and Niyama has more than 80% overlap to what this Eightfold Path is saying. Pretty much the same. So, in other words, that Shila Samadhi Panyar, this way of living and the way of practicing meditation, it has, irrespective of the religion, techniques, as Ravi said, there could be a little bit variation, but essentially they are the same. To get out of this craving, aversion cycle that we run incessantly. So,
Wholesome mantra, Manju, what is that? What do they mean by wholesome?
anything which is not resulting in craving or aversion for you. That's how I understand what is wholesome. So, if let's say taking the example what you said, no, Rajiv, that is when I sit for meditation, sometimes I experience that tranquility state for maybe a couple of moments. I can, if I, after that experience, if I keep aspiring for it again and again and again it is a trap which is unwholesome, which is what Buddha explicitly called out to people who practice this direct path, saying that is where I think even Hindu, our practice, Patanjali's Samadhi state, Buddha went one step further, saying if you experience Samadhi and come out of it after a few moments, and if you keep aspiring for it, then that is a trap you will land up in, is something that he called out explicitly in his teaching as well. So I would term the wholesomeness where you simply have stopped going behind either craving or aversion. At least that's my view. Ravi, would you like to add any additional thoughts, perspectives from your viewpoint?
Not really. I mean, even I'm a little confused about this wholesome word. So we will discuss. Maybe I will also get some points.
Sure. So, okay. So if you see the Noble Eightfold Path, at least these 8 folds or the 8 items there, this first one, right? Understanding or Samadhi, that also is kind of a summary of this 3 noble truths that we already discussed, saying you should have a clear experiential understanding, not just understanding of this misery, its cause, its cessation, and the way to get out of it. So that's what I believe this right understanding is all about, as if one can experience it, which is more like a North Star, in my view, the way Buddha put it. To reach that, one needs to go through the remaining 7 folds in the path. And some people probably go through quickly, some people go through slowly, but at least the remaining 7 folds in the path, the right thought, right action, right thought, right words, right action. That is the sequence in which he presents it. So these are the way of living. At least that is the way I understand every moment, the way we get entangled in this highness as we go through from moment to moment in our life. And he gives sufficient examples in this Satipatthana meditation or Satipatthana discourse or the sutta, calling out many things, what he meant by each of this. And I think that notes what I shared with you folks also had English kind of description of each of this. So did anyone have any specific comments or thoughts to share around these 3 items? Thoughts, right speech, and right action based on your exploration, observation, or research?
No, nothing from my.
Okay. So then, at least based on my own understanding and my own practice, the way I apply it, I continue to do my best to apply it in my life. Is this right thought? Anything where I feel I am I am going towards that craving or aversion in my thoughts, or anything that uh, makes me land up. I do my best to observe and see if I can just, rather than go with the flow in terms of either reacting or in terms of trying to suppress it. Can I just stay neutral? Can I just observe? I try to do that at the thought level. At least that's what I've been practicing since I got exposed to these teachings few years back onwards. And action, of course, Buddha explicitly says you should not do any harm. You should not cause any hurt to people. But at least I find while I practice it to do this everything that I do, it's I keep seeing that some of my actions, some of my words, they actually end up causing some damage, at least for the other person, whether I like or not. At least I see it causes suffering. At least that I have noticed. And even though I'm explicitly trying my best not to steal or kill or do any misconducts, it tends to somehow result in people around me getting hurt from time to time or even feel bad. And I keep reflecting about it after that. What I could have done differently. Was I going and operating out of this I-ness? Can I stop using this I-ness, be it in whatever I was trying to do? I keep reflecting. I try to do my best to get out of that state. But at least sometimes, at least that's what I have been doing. Let me pause. Any comments, thoughts, anything that people would like to add for this understanding thoughts, actions, and words?
I don't know. Actually, I'm always confused about these moral things. Okay. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because see, let's take Buddha himself as an example.
Yeah.
He left the house and went. Obviously, many are hurt. So, can we call it wholesome action or not? I don't know. Okay. And many times, even Buddha says, your happiness is important in many places. You should not do things at the cost of your happiness, even helping others, even being compassionate. He explains saying that compassionate doesn't mean you worry about others' problems. Compassion doesn't mean that. So it should be in a state where you are not affected by any of the things. So clearly drawing the line there, at least I am not able to do it, and most of the times I end up hurting many, or many get hurt by my words, actions, and other things, and I just left it there.
But do you feel hurt about it, Ravi? That's the question.
Correct.
Yeah, sometimes when the resistance is too much, we get irritated. Irritated is a one type of hurt, for sure. But many times, maybe I don't even realize that what has happened to others. I just go on saying that this is how it is. So combination, I can say.
See Buddha's example, where he left the palace and went for search of. I don't think he regretted. I don't think he regretted it. Right? See,
Correct. See,
the point here is correct. The happiness that we feel within, that is what we said existence, right?
Yeah.
That would drive us to do certain actions which would result in happiness for us, but that in turn could result in happiness to someone else as a consequence of it. That also could result in suffering to someone else as well.
correct. So not hurting someone is not the definition. I'm not saying it's not the definition. It is something I'm not still clear.
But what I'm trying to say is hurting someone intentionally, maybe.
Correct.
So that you
Correct.
know that. Yeah. So.
See, again, as I said, anything that comes under this morality things, right? It's always questionable and debatable. Okay. If, for example, people who are non-vegetarians, okay, are they hurting anything or are they just eating their food? It's very questionable, right? So for vegetarians, killing something for food is a big sin. Are very tough thing to do, but non-vegetarians, it's a normal thing to do. So we get into such dilemma when it comes to this thing. That's why I could not get the real definition of wholesome.
The bigger picture, I think there is a bigger picture. Is what I understood. See, now in every action, if you look at some of people who probably have got so-called enlightenment or at that level, they tend to exhibit certain symptoms. That's what I looked at it. For example, you take Buddha, you take Shankara, you take Jesus Christ. They tend to exhibit certain symptoms when they reach that stage. And then we tend to look at those symptoms only because we can't understand their state. And most of the people look at the symptoms and then they start documenting these symptoms and say, okay, if you have to reach that state, then how do we exhibit those symptoms? So it will not happen for us, for many people. But people who have reached there generally are morally good. They don't kill people. They don't hurt people intentionally. For that matter, most of them don't eat non-vegetarian also, right? So that is where probably right contact, right thought comes into picture. So it invariably happens if you probably reach that state. This is what I'm thinking as of now.
Yeah. In fact, I think there is probably a bit more stronger connection between detachment from cravings and aversion and morality, because I think morality simplifies our emotional entanglements for us, and when these entanglements get weakened or no longer exist, it is basically a state of detachment which enables you to be out of your suffering. Maybe that is why you see most of these so-called enlightened people exhibit that calmness or simplified way of looking at life. Clutter is not there for them. Clutter of cravings and emotions bag, they tend to carry very, I mean, it's disappeared probably for them.
Correct. No, I think today is also Raghavendra Swami's Aradhana, right? I mean, one of his decisions that he took in life is so controversial that we find at home even today, that he had a child who was probably 8 or 10 years old. He had a loving wife, beautiful family. Why did he decided to take sannyas? That resulted in the suicide of his wife. So my brother called it out that Raghavendra Swami is responsible for his wife's murder. So so now how do you say it's right or wrong? So which could have annoyed a lot of people, but he has his own perspective. But he was able to take a decision. He was very clear in his mind.
And Ravi, Manju, or anyone, you said realization is the one which is after meditation. If you get that realization, that is what is basically we are all doing for. What is that state? Once the person realizes, they will not come back to a normalcy, or they will always be taking the right decision or what to do, everything right?
No, in Zen, there is a saying, unrealized person goes to market, buy vegetables, cooks and eats. And realized person goes to market, buys vegetables, cooks and eats. So it's the same. Okay. So actually Zen, if you want a little funny and tickling things, you should read a lot of Zen books. Okay.
Okay.
There is something called koans, and then there are things like that. where it will kill a lot of myths about spirituality. Okay, spirituality, we feel that we feel always it's something it's very exciting and some energy, all those things, right? It's actually not so. Uh, it is life continues as it is. We our actions, not actions, what we do for living continues, but our approach or the perception may be different. That's what I have understood. Otherwise, externally, I think the actions would remain same, unless somebody is very cruel and then transformed and become non-cruel. That's a different thing. But day-to-day activities would remain same.
Thanks, Ravi.
Yeah, I too think pretty much like Ravi there. So, and that is where this even samadhi or the remaining three noble, this eightfold path talks about, right? So this right livelihood, and then it also talks about right effort and right awareness and right concentration. That is right effort, right awareness, and right concentration. These are the three folds in the Noble Eightfold Path around meditation practice or around the mind as such in everything that we do. So here, of course, Buddha gives some more step-by-step approach to go through these experiences. But at the end of the day, after we invest on the right effort to practice meditation, and we are having a right awareness of the being or the nature as it happens from moment to moment, whether we are sitting for meditation or otherwise, and even this right concentration to go through some different stages in our own meditation practice where we are getting out of this state of attachment to any of these sense desires across our six senses. So they are all leading to what Ravi said. After at least I have not reached. So I'm going by the description of both Buddha and his disciples who reached this state. They continue to work and live life in the way where they were sharing this knowledge by teaching others and enable them to achieve this state. But as they were teaching, they also went through many experiences and they reacted as well, or they responded to this maybe in a much more calmer way or in a much more wholesome way, so to say. But at the end of the day, they also went through these experiences. So, for example, one of Buddha's two chief disciples, Mahamoggallana, he was murdered when he was sitting in the meditation. A couple of people murdered him, but and many other his disciples also went through many situations. So, in other words, you will still go through life experiences, but the way you handle, which is where Rajiv asked this question to Ravi, no? Do you feel hurt? I mean, one is your actions hurt others, but do you feel hurt that you hurt others? So I think that is where that comes into play for them. They reach a state where the detachment is so stable that the ups and downs, the miseries of life, where it is continuously arising, continuously passing, every moment for all of us, including them, it simply stops them to run behind it, create more misery or in terms of either craving or aversion. That's at least that is my current understanding.
Thanks, Manju. And is there any prerequisite to get into the meditation? I should know what all these six senses and what all these awareness or spirituality. Is there any prerequisite, or simply I can ready for meditating?
Yeah, I mean, my version. See, this is where that Satipatthana, the starting of our this whole series of conversations, where Ravi shared the Satipatthana technique, right? Buddha summarized this as his direction, and it is so simple and I mean, at least simple to understand. Not easy to practice, but it's very simple to understand. At least that has been my experience. Okay, so one can just start off. There is nothing
See,
stopping us.
this is where I think, Manju, the first thing of right understanding come into picture.
Right.
Okay, I think that was the first one, right? Even I don't know the sequence.
Correct.
If that is the first one, now I can feel that we need to start with whatever is the right understanding of that moment. See, understanding may change over a period of time, but
Right.
at least we should start with the right understanding. We should not start with the wrong understanding. Again, for example, we kept on telling, right? Purpose of meditation is not to get that excitement and joy. It is to get the understanding. Okay. So even starting with that understanding is important. Otherwise, we chase that pleasure of meditation and we continue to do forever without actually reaching where we are supposed to reach.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of
this discussion
are around our understanding itself today. So that way it also sets the tone for eightfold path, right?
Right.
Yes.
Because I mean, including this was quite interesting. I mean, interaction between Manju and Ravi. What is right? So I was also, I think, subconsciously I was also going through actually. So what is right? So perhaps if we understand the definition for if we really understand what is right, then everything else becomes much more easier.
Correct.
Absolutely. We are also hitting the 7:30 mark. So in the interest of time, anyone else would like to comment on whatever we discussed so far? Thoughts, how you would like to, how you are thinking, how you would like to take it forward? Any thoughts by others too?
Manju, I was reflecting on the thing that when you unconsciously you feel others are hurt by yourself. As long as, I mean, if I were me, as long as I believe whatever you told the other person for his own good, I would never, think twice or think bad about it. So, like, when I'm compassionate of other people's development, even if I tell it in a way that is harsh or maybe it is needed at that hour for the realization of the other person, I would still not think twice about doing that and hurting the other person. Maybe that I wanted to, because it also depends on the maturity of the other person, whether he is mature enough to take what we have told, where our intent was not to hurt them but to develop them.
Yeah. I think that's fair thought, Vijay. In fact, my reflection is generally in two parts. One, what happened to the other person, but even more importantly, what I did or what really happened from my side. What was it based on the wholesomeness, the way I understand it, or whether I did something out of my own craving or aversion, and that resulted in me getting to behave in the way which I did not want it to. So my reflection is always on the both sides. At least I try to do that as many times as possible in all my interactions.
Sure. I'll pick this up as a takeaway for me for today, apart from other things.
But Vijay, sometimes, most of the times, the intention is always right. Actually, only thing is how we are doing is different to different people. So assume the extreme case I'm taking, somebody failed in the 10th class or 12th class, and just for his development or his motivation, we say some examples where if you are doing like this, your life will be very bad and you will become failure and all that. Your intention is to make him better. Actually, with that, he thought that he is good for nothing and he went and suicide, for example. You may not a direct reason, but your intentions are best actually there. But if you are not able to understand that what is that impacts to the other person, and since your intention is still good, I don't think that is right.
Got it. In this context, I could understand. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I'll have to reflect more on myself also going forward. I'll take that as a
Any other thoughts, folks? By the way, some of these things, whatever we're discussing, those of you who attended our SDS for Influencers training, some of the concepts we discussed there, you try to apply it based on this conversation, like learning and routine or the observation skill, whatever we teach, they are all interrelated here. At least that's how I feel.
I always see a lot of cross influence, Manju, both ways, not in one way.
Correct.
I mean, many of our discussions are also seen in various stages, and similarly, many of the things that we already discussed, I see where is it coming from. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, yeah, you would be able to reflect and realize that quite clearly, Pati. All our interactions, the base.
Yeah.
What is the name you said, Ravi? Somebody, some person's that funny book you said, na? Zen, na?
No, Zen books. It's not specific author.
Okay.
But, Zen koans and Zen stories.
Okay.
A lot of funny things like this.
Maybe one or two, if you can just think in the chat or in the group, WhatsApp group, Ravi, for the benefit of people to trigger some thoughts, including those beyond this call.
Yeah, yeah. And also there is something called, see, again, there are different meditations we said, right? So there are Zen meditations where you think of some paradoxes. Okay. For example, I forgot. I will put it in a group. For example, what is the sound of silence? So something like that, where it's what do you call? It's a paradox, or I don't know. There's some word which I'm forgetting. Oxymoron, right?
Oxymoron, yeah. Right.
So such things, if mind starts thinking such things, after some time it will die. In the sense, the thoughts disappear. So there are some techniques, Zen techniques, which are like that, which we can also try based on what is comfortable for us.
Right. Whatever it is, I think the key point is that our pursuit to understand first and then experience it every moment must continue. I think, to really get out of the suffering, to really realize the goal of spirituality.
Right understanding. We should start with right understanding.
And keep striving towards it. Some of us will probably reach maybe immediately after this call, and some of us will probably reach maybe after many more such calls in this life, and some of us will reach after many more such calls in many more lives. But whatever it is, that whole karma and reincarnation is another fascinating thing that we can talk. But the journey must continue, I feel, for seeking the truth. Okay, so on that note, if there are no additional thoughts, we can probably close for today. And I don't know what we can talk for next week. We can think about it and see what we would like to come back and discuss and exchange ideas views for the next week.
I mean, I thought we could also continue on this right understanding and thoughts. Yeah, because that's a good foundation for us to go to the other samadhi or virtues. Yeah?
Sure, Pati. We can dissect each of those a bit more closely then. So today was an overview of the Eightfold Path, but maybe we can go a little deeper into each of those. What Buddha has told in this Satipatthana meditation, and then see how we understand and how we can apply it one by one. We can go even closer. And Rajiv also shared some very nice Bhagavad Gita verse. And if any of you are interested, you can also take a look at Yama and Niyama, the 5 yamas and 5 niyamas in Ashtanga Yoga. If you come, then we can have some good, interesting conversation across these 3 aspects.
Yeah, and also we can maybe revisit Satipatthana again. Yeah, because finally that is the practice or at least understanding of Satipatthana will will, I think the theory is also strengthened. Whatever we spoke by going through Satipatthana.
Yeah, absolutely, Ravi. In fact, in this Samma Sati explanation, he again summarizes the 4 Satipattanas. That is, Buddha summarizes. So that's there in the Pali. Maybe we can talk about this understanding and then Samma Sati, and then talk about remaining things. That way, we can try and do a bit more revisit, and if necessary, we can further deep dive into Satipatthana. Different techniques that are out there, meditation techniques.
Exactly. With this understanding, going into again multiple times would give a new and better perspective each time, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, we'll try that. Anyway, like we'll continue to meet at least. Let's hear from people on experiences and whatever new books they have read. Let's not break this chain.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then,
sure.
So then,
if nothing, we'll end this call then.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you all.
Happy
Nice
nice
talking
long
to you.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
have a nice, long, reflective weekend, folks.